My friend's dad was never that into baseball. He was more of a football fan himself. But in this day and age of multiverses, perhaps there is a version of him that loves baseball. Let us enter into the Steve Burstein cinematic multiverse and ask the question, can you make it to the Hall of Fame as my friend's dad? Now, I know what you are thinking. Yes, you should subscribe to the channel. Also, you are probably wondering who this guy is. Steve Edwin Brown Sugar Burstein is a young catching prospect from Minnesota. Growing up in this multiverse, his biggest influences were Craig Biggio, Mo Berg, and Thurman Munson. Brown Sugar was given to him as a nickname, as one day to practice he wore a shirt of his dad's favorite band, the Rolling Stones. As the most recent MLB games like the show 21 and 22 have brought in the use of a loadout and perk system, I guess it is worth it to mention what my setup is for Steve. Not to stack the deck too much in my favor, I went with the Silver Sparking Slugger archetype for power and contact to start, with perks aimed to provide even more contact at bat. I did this as when Steve eventually reaches the big leagues, my PCI will be the size of an ant and I won't be able to hit for shit. The plan is, as Steve moves up the leagues and into his career, I will season him by upgrading to a gold archetype and then eventually to diamond. With the archetype and perks chosen, I finished my loadout with equipment to bring his overall to a nice solid 75. Let's pretend instead of the game saying we are 18, Steve is actually 21 and coming off a few seasons of playing at college. Steve attended and graduated from the South Harmon Institute of Technology. After declaring for the draft, Ben Gelman gave me a rousing pep speech that I totally don't fast forward through in every single career mode. Gelman then calls me trash.
Not a household name yet. There's a long way to go. Maybe not at the top of the draft class.
And asks Ken Griffey Jr. to give me some life advice.
I have Hall of Fame outfielder Ken Griffey Jr. with me today. Ken, what advice would you give this player who might not be considered a sure thing to make it? What would you tell them as they begin their professional journey?
Yeah, I mean, and they don't care,
Thanks, Ken. Steve's former coach, ironically named former coach, shot him a text asking what he hopes for in the draft. As Steve just wants to play baseball, he said, "Fuck it. Whoever wants me can have me, Mr. Coach." Once this freaking sweet-ass montage of talking heads and tension that totally was not shot in one room over a Zoom call in an afternoon had finished, Steve saw where he was going. Philadelphia. Someone wasn't happy about that, though.
What? Are you kidding me? This is who we are drafting?
Steve's first at-bat in his first minor league game, while not a make-or-break moment, is one we'd like to start out on a good note. After fouling away the first pitch, Burstein puts a double into the gap between center and right field for his first career hit. We can only go up from here. For his debut game, Steve went 2 for 3 with a double and 3 RBIs. Maybe the Phillies know what they are doing there, Chris. Game 2 continues this momentum, as down 0-2 in the count, Burstein hits a pop-up to right. The outfielder rushes in to make the diving catch, but doesn't get his ankles quite right, and Steve is able to motor on over to second for a double.
Bruh.
The highlights from the rest of the first few series in Steve's careers are hitting no doubt home runs and the times he showed off the rocket of an arm he has, gunning down runners trying to steal on him. The rest of April mainly consists of playing this falling ball minigame, listening to the kid get bored on camera, and seeing Chris Russo react to himself being wrong.
Jeez, he gets a couple of hits in a minor league game and you guys got him out to be the next Joe DiMaggio. I mean, please. What's some success against some freckle-faced high schooler who's thinking about his prom date? Ah, come on, take it slow, lower it. How about new?
At the end of April, Steve was hitting at a .385 average with a .738 slugging percentage, 5 home runs, and 24 RBIs. Going into June, he had raised those numbers to a .397 average, .816 slugging, and increased his home runs to 15 and earned 25 more RBIs. July came around and Steve still hadn't cooled off, returning to a .385 average, .751 slugging, and a league-leading 72 RBIs. In a mid-July series against the Richmond Flying Squirrels, Brown Sugar launched a pair of missiles out of the park for a 2-home-run performance that day. After this game, Steve was nervously called into the manager's office. Thinking he had been cut, or even worse, traded to the Marlins, Burstein as well as myself were quite surprised to be called up to AAA so soon. Well, guess who had some thoughts on the matter?
Did I hear this right? Triple A? One step from the big leagues? Really? Because he had a nice month in the AA level?
In total, Steve's AA stats were a .376 batting average, 25 home runs, 82 RBIs, and a .773 slugging percentage.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
Before he took his new role on the AAA team, Steve was given a chance to show off his skills at one of the biggest events for minor leaguers by being named to the National League Future Stars team as the starting catcher. On the field at Dodger Stadium, Steve notched a single in his first at-bat and then gave a good sampling of the cannon of an Army as. Now in AAA, I upgraded Steve's archetype from the silver sparking slugger to the gold Duke archetype, adding a power perk into the 4th slot. Yes, I am playing a sports game. For those who care and want to argue with me in the comments, here are my stats and active quirks for Steve at this point. In one of his first series at this level, Steve took on the Yankees' AAA affiliate, the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. It's the bottom of the 9th, 2 outs, and the game's tied at 6. Steve walks up to bat. Wait, who is that on the mound? Oh great, it's the Cuban Missile Crisis himself, Aroldis Chapman, probably pissed off from being demoted down to AAA. After almost walking it off in regulation, Steve finds himself on second as the extra inning Manfred runner. With a drive into deep right field, Burstein began to wheel home, trying to get there before the throw did. Steve's reaction in-game was the exact same reaction I had in real life. Anyway, I went 0 for 5 in this game and contributed nothing to this extra inning loss. Despite this, the Phillies love what they see in me, and with less than a month under his belt in AAA, Steve Burstein is now promoted to the major leagues. Steve's AAA stats, you ask? A staggering, world-shattering .255 batting average in 47 at-bats with 5 home runs and 11 RBIs. He is back, and he is talking nonsense. It's our boy, Chris Russo.
Listen, nobody's going to sit there and say the kid can't have his day in the sun, mom and dad in the stands, major league debut, but take it easy. The sport is littered with these hotshots who come up.
It's a rainy day at Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia, when Steve is set to make his Major League Baseball debut. The Phillies are currently 11 games under 500. With a weird, infected beard-type thing on his face, Burstein is ready to leave his mark on baseball history. Determined to prove the haters, Chris Russo, wrong, Steve swings at the first pitch he saw from Max Fried. Knocking it up the middle, it was a simple fielding play for the shortstop to cover and throw Steve out at first. What came next for him was 9 consecutive at-bats resulting in outs for Burstein to start his career. Highlights here include his first strikeout and first double play. Let us watch.
Gotcha, bitch!
Finally, during his 11th at-bat in his 3rd game, Steve got the tip of a sinker from Steven Strasburg and bounced it up the middle out of the reach of the second baseman. The streak was finally over. Steve Burstein was a Major League Baseball player with at least a registered hit to his name. The ball was tossed in the dugout to give to him after the game. Immediately after getting his first hit, Steve was part of an inning-ending double play. Later, in the 7th, Steve grabbed another single with a blooping ground ball down the third base line, just out of the reach of the third baseman. While the Phillies did win, the real story of the day was Steve Burstein, the rookie, earning his first and second career hits. Reporters from the local sports media swarmed him. Despite the game ending at night, as we can see on one of the reporters' phones, it says that it's just about 3 p.m. With this accolade being achieved, this is where we leave Steve's tale for the next episode. Will he be able to keep his momentum going and change things for the Phillies? What sort of awards will he win, and what kind of player will he become? And most of all, will my friend's dad in real life find out about this video and be weirded out about it? Find out all of this and more in episode 2. If you have made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you so much. I'm far from the best MLB The Show player, so I thought giving a little bit more of an entertaining story or challenge would be a fun, unique thing to do instead. If this goes well and people seem to enjoy them, I have a whole list of ideas for future players or characters to build and take to the Hall of Fame. If any of you watching have your own ideas for a future video or challenge, please leave them in the comments section below. I would love to get any kind of feedback from viewers on these videos. I hope to always be working towards making better and funnier videos for you guys. If you did enjoy today's video, please feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. And if you want to hear more from me, please check out my podcast, Back Row Lessons. It's a comedic history podcast where we look at famous events from history and then talk about the more hilarious underbelly of everything from how a bullfight changed the course of English history to that time a few guys being lazy and wanting to go home led to the cryptic tale of Roanoke Island. So again, Back Row Lessons, and you can check us out on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. Thank you for watching, and until next time...
Did I hear this right? Triple A? One step from the big leagues? Really?